Hi, Steve Gale here. This is the fourth video in the series of the Industry 4 prototype system. And what we're going to look at today is we're going to look at the IoT device. And we're going to look at running the test code in the Pycom IoT device from a Windows PC and upload that data into the server. So we've got some prototype code in the Pycom device, which I can view by running up Visual Studio Code. So I'll just CD 2020 I40 and open up Visual Studio Code. So if I look in the Pycom test folder, I can see that I've got a folder here called Libraries. And in the Libraries folder, I've got a Pysense, which we're using a Pysense device, which is a Pycom Pysense device, which has onboard temperature and humidity sensor, among other sensors. And then we've got the I2C driver for those particular device sensor that's being used on the Pysense board. Then we have a boot.py, which contains our boot code, and main.py, which is our main code. So with the boot.py, what's happening is that initially what we're doing is we're importing the WLAN module from network, and we're setting the SSID for the Wi-Fi. So this IoT device is going to Wi-Fi connect to the network, and we need to specify the Wi-Fi password. And then what it's going to do is it's going to connect to it's going to instantiate the WLAN class as a station mode, and it's going to return that as WLAN. And then what it's going to do is it's going to, I'll just shrink this down, is it's going to make a connection using WPA2 to the Wi-Fi network and sit there until it connects. And then when it's connected, it'll just print out connected to Wi-Fi, and it'll show us some interface configuration details, things like the IP address that the IoT device gets allocated from DHCP, default gateway, and so forth. And then it's going to call the main program. So with the main program, and I've just adjusted the main program slightly, so I might just bring it up in on my local machine. It's the main program here. Now I should mention that what I've done is I've cloned the repository on my Windows machine into this folder here, Industry 4 Repo 2020 I40, and you can see Pycom test is where I've got my boot.py and my main.py. So on my Windows PC, I'm looking at these, and if I look at main.py, essentially what this is going to do in a nutshell is we're using the Pysense board and the sensor, the SI sensor, and we're going to instantiate the Pysense, instantiate the sensor class, and then once we've got the sensor class, we can then use si.temperature and si.humidity to read the temperature and humidity values from the Pysense board. But once I've got those temperature and humidity values, what I want to do is I want to upload those to my server. And I'm going to do that with a host address of 10.0.0.49. So I just need to check that that's correct. So if we go back to the server, let's just run up the terminal and let's just do an IPA. And we can see here that our NPOS3, which is our virtual network interface, has an IP address of 10.0.0.49. So I'm using the correct address here, 10.0.0.49. And we're going to connect on port 80. So this is only going to do, it's only a test program, so it's going to loop around 3 times and 1 second delay between messages, between sensor reads. And we're going to read the temperature value, read the humidity value from the sensor. And then what we're going to do is we're going to construct a HTTP post string, which is in JSON format, and we're going to format our data according to this. So we're going to take our temperature value and our humidity value here, humidity and temperature value, and we're going to format up a content string in JSON format, and we're going to replace, this is the key, and this is the value for humidity, this is the key, and this is the value for temperature, and that humidity value will come from there, and the temperature value will come from here. So then, because this is using HTTP post, and it's essentially a REST API, what we're doing is we're posting it to the PHP, and the PHP code here is going to accept this HTTP post and process the data. So then we've got our host address and our port, so host and port. So you can see str host, str port. So that's coming from here. Here's our host. Here's our port number, port 80. So we're just using port 80 for the moment. And our content type in our API, in our HTTP call is going to be application JSON, because this data, this post data, is formatted in JSON format. And the content length is basically the length of the content string. So the length of our JSON post data, which is here. So that'll calculate the length of that and it'll put it into there. Finally, we need some /r's and /n's to terminate that string. So then we build our payload, and our payload will consist of the post string, which is the post here, the host string, which is the host and port number, the content type string, which is content application JSON, the content length string, which is this one here, and finally our content string, which we've constructed, which includes our humidity value and temperature value. Once we've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to make a socket connection, and we're going to connect on to the host, which is 10.0.0.49, and on port 80. And once we've made that connection, then we're going to send our payload, but we're going to encode it. So it's going to be encoded. And then we're going to wait for a server response. And we're allocating 4 kilobyte buffer, receive buffer for the server response. It won't be that much data, but that's how much we're allocating. We're going to print the server response. And then we're going to identify in that server response, the HTTP response that comes back from the server is also going to be encoded in JSON format. So we're going to extract that out. And this section here, what it does is it extracts this out of the response here between byte 148 and byte 192, and that'll be our JSON string. And what it's going to do is it's going to add that to a JSON string. And then what we can do is we can then use JSON.loads to put that string in, and if we wanted to, we can use JSON.dumps just to look at it, or if we wanted to get into the individual elements, we can index into the JSON object and get out the code and the message that comes back from the server. If we have any issues, notice that this is all wrapped in a try catch block. So we've got a try down here. And if we have any errors, then we're going to pick that up as an exception. Or if we've got a value error type exception, we can pick that up here as well. And that's the essence of the code. So basically, in a nutshell, what the code does is it loops around 3 times. It reads a temperature value, reads a humidity value. It will then construct the string to communicate with the server in JSON format. It then communicates with this PHP code. We then set up the connection to the server and send that payload, which includes the temperature and humidity value. Then the server will respond, and we can look at that response, which is in JSON format, and we can use this methodology to decode the JSON string, that's the response string, and have a look at the individual elements of that if we need to. Okay, so let's give this a try. So what we're going to do is we'll just shrink this down to half size and put it over here. Actually, what I'll do is I'll bang it over here and then put this one on the other side. So let's log in. To our server. And let's go into Firefox and let's have a look at the data that we've got at the moment. So we've got these PHP files. This JSON REST data.php is the one that accepts the JSON data from the IoT devices. But what we're interested in is just display room table data, which will just give us the raw data. So you can see at the moment we've only got three values in this table. So we've got a temperature 35.10, temperature 35.09, temperature 35.09. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a go at running this code. So you can see here, if we look here, we've got a IoT device connected. So what I'll do is I'll just save this and I'll just upload that code to the IoT device. It's uploading at the moment. And you can see here that it's connected to Wi-Fi and we're getting some data back. So let's have a look at what happened. So it's printed out connected to Wi-Fi. 10.0.0.53 is the IP address that's been allocated by the Wi-Fi router to the IoT device. The network 10.0.0.138 is the gateway, and DNS 208.67.222.222. So that came from DHCP. Here's our post string. So you can see we're calling i40 test admin insert JSON REST data.php. So if I go back to here, we're calling i40 test admin insert JSON REST data PHP, this one here, sorry, and using HTTP 1.1. Our host address 10.0.0.49, port 80, application JSON, content length 69. Here's the content. So we've got humidity value 34.55, temperature value 35.96. Then this is the response string that comes back, and you can see there's a component of that which contains the JSON response that's coming back from JSON REST data.php, and this is the actual JSON component. Code equals 1, message successfully stored. So that happened a second time, and that's happened a third time as well, and then the program's terminated. So if we go now and have a look at display room table data, we should see that we've got now 3 more values. So these 3 more values have been uploaded from the IoT device, which we've just run that code from. So everything seems to be functioning correctly. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll move this over here and we'll just refer back to the readme.md file. So what we've done is we've successfully looked at this code and we've done that. Now, if you don't happen to have a Pycom device available, then there is an option to be able to run some code which will insert some test data into the database. And this is in 2020 i40 SQL, insert room data table sample here. So if I go into Visual Studio Code and I go back to, where are we? If I go back to SQL, and here I've got this one here, which is my insert room data table sample. So you can see here what I can do is I can run this SQL query, insert into room data, room name, humidity, temperature, and read date. And here I've got my values. So this is the SQL. So this is the room, this is the humidity, this is the temperature, and the read date, for the first record is going to be now. The second record, because it'll almost happen immediately, what we can do is we can just add some time to this. So what this is doing is add time now plus 1 hour. So this makes the next one look like it's come an hour later. And then this one here, add time now plus 2 hours. So adding 2 hours to it. So let's copy all of this, and I'll just copy that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into PHP MyAdmin, and I'll log in. And I'll just go to databases, and I'll go to my database, and I'll go to room data here. And you can see this is the room data that I've got in. This is the first 3 records that I already had, and the next 3 records which have been inserted by the IoT device in the run that we just did. But what I want to do is, and I'll go full screen for this, is what I want to do is expand this screen here. Expand it out. I'm going to go into SQL and I'm going to paste that SQL that I copied. Here we go, Control V, and I've pasted it in. So what I want to do is I want to insert these additional values into my database. Now, if you don't have an IoT device, you can just insert data this way. So I've got my query, insert into room data, blah blah blah, and this is running on the database, Industry 4.0 DB. So I'll hit go, and I can see that I've got 3 rows inserted. So if I go back to here and I rerun this, then you can see I've got 7, 8, 9. So I've got the 3 more rows inserted. And if I just move that over here, you can see whoops, it didn't work. If I just move that over here, you can see that I've got 27.64, 27.60, and 27.63 are the dummy values that have been inserted. If I go back now and go back here and do a refresh on that, then you can see here these are the 27.64, 27.60, and 27.63. If I look at the read dates, scroll across. So, the other ones had null read date. So this one's got these. I'll have to look at that. So these ones here have a read date of 1109, 1209, and 1309. So you can see they're one hour apart. Okay, so let's just minimize that again. And so what we've been able to do is we've been able to run this SQL query, insert some test data, and you can see the test data. We can view the test data by displaying room table data.php, or we can view it in PHP MyAdmin. Okay, well that concludes this value. The next video we'll be looking at data analytics and how we can analyze this data using Python.